Hello and welcome to MFAC Coaching. I am Megan Fackenthal, or the MFAC in MFAC Coaching, and this week is the start of a new video series where once a month I am going to talk to you about a different emotion and about my Patreon group. So hopefully you'll give this a chance this month and you'll enjoy it every month. We're going to talk about the emotion of what it feels like when we feel appreciated. So the emotion of appreciation. And we're going to talk about it from seven different perspectives, and I'll explain why in just a moment. In my Patreon group every month, we talk about one emotion. We talk about it from multiple perspectives. And we do that because every emotion that we have comes from one and probably, let's be honest, a combination of at least 7 different aspects of what it means to be a human being. And I like to think of language as a language. Did I just say that? I like to think of emotion as a language. We feel things in our everyday lives, and that feeling is telling us something about our surroundings, about the situation we're in, about our biological state, and it is that language is, as I say, it's telling us something. We tend to feel like I should say, our brains tend to act as though any emotion you feel right now will be felt forever, for the end of time. So when you feel really sad, really negative, it's really hard to imagine not feeling that way. And that's just a really unique and strange thing about the human brain. So this month we're talking about the feeling of appreciation and what's going to happen in the future. So not this month, but I'm launching this in July. Is that each month, if you are at the right level, you're going to get a box of 7 items to help you kind of understand what an emotion might be telling you. All right, so the first perspective that you'll get an item for is the biological perspective. In psychology, that is all about the body. So what is the body physically telling you? And when you feel appreciated, that is usually biologically a feeling or an emotion that is occurring due to some pleasure centers in your brain being activated. And so if you were to get a box this month, I would actually put some sort of stickers in that box. This just happens to be a set of stickers based on the book The House on the Cerulean Sea, which is one that I loved, and that is why I pulled out these stickers, because they just make me happy. And if like I used to joke that one way to help me feel appreciated is if you're my boss, is to go ahead and give me stickers. I will take payment in the form of physical items such as stickers. Now you know why I am on some PR teams, because it really does, when I get stickers, when I get something, I feel appreciated by people. The next item in the box would actually be wrapping paper. It's an interesting one, but wrapping paper is there to represent the psychodynamic perspective in psychology, which is oftentimes looking at your past and when have you felt appreciated in your past. And so use that wrapping paper to think about those times when you have appreciated somebody else and therefore wanted to show that in different ways. And one of the ways that we can show that is through the giving of gifts, or of course the receiving of gifts. And most of the time those gifts tend to be wrapped, at least here in the United States. The next item you would get would be some affirmation cards that just say, you are loved, you are valuable. They'd have different affirmations, and those would be to represent the evolutionary perspective. And in the evolutionary perspective, it's oftentimes looking at like what in not your personal past, but the collective past of human beings would lead to that emotion occurring. And one of the things that, the reason we might feel the emotion of appreciation today is because it is a connecting emotion. It is a way for us to say, to form groups. And the affirmation card would just be used for you to take those affirmations, but also to give them out to friends or family members, coworkers, random people, and build that connection. The next thing, if you had if you had a box, I would actually probably have created a pamphlet based on the book, The 5 Love Languages. Now, I wouldn't give out the book because the book is a little heteronormative and a little culturally insensitive in some ways, but the concepts in the book are quite fabulous. And that is the idea that there are like 5 key love languages that most of us experience. And so there are times in our lives and our relationships in our lives where maybe we're not feeling appreciated because that person doesn't speak our love language. So they might be telling us that they really appreciate us, but if you are not someone who really takes in what people say, if you're not that verbal, you may not feel appreciated even though they're saying it. Or your partner might be showing you appreciation, and this is, or it could be a coworker. They could be showing you appreciation through trying to set up a time for you to go and get drinks together after work, or do that quality time. That the things from that book would be about the behavioral perspective, those kind of actions that we can take to help people feel appreciated and to recognize what people do for us that helps us feel appreciated. Next up, I would be creating something called the praise game. This would be a little game you'd play. They'd be cards, kind of like the affirmation cards, except a little different in the sense that in the praise game, it would have little challenges for you. So you'd pick a card and it would say things like, don't say I'm sorry today, or give appreciation to 5 people in one way, shape, or form. Or anytime someone says thank you, say you're welcome, like embrace the connections. And this would be a cognitive game for you to help you think through what appreciation might look like or feel like or seem like to you, and how do you cognitively think through that. A lot of people, particularly women, though men do this too, will, when they are praised, somehow diminish it and say to themselves that it's, they're not actually worthy of that praise. And it's a very cognitive, not necessarily conscious thought, but it is a cognitive thought. And so anything we can do to help ourselves halt that thought and just embrace the affirmations that come our way is a good thing. Of course, there's the socio-cultural perspective. That is the perspective that helps us with our emotions, understand what our emotions are in a group setting. And one of the things that we have been culturally taught to do, of course, is to give the thank you card. And so you'd get some thank you cards in the box so that you could give that appreciation to others or to even yourself. Write yourself a thank you note in that kind of culturally approved way. And lastly, you would get a set of flowers. And the reason for that is from this humanistic perspective. And this perspective is that we're always trying to, we start from a place of goodness and we try to continue to get better, is kind of the humanistic perspective. And we kind of appreciate what we cultivate. And so some flowers will remind us how we can cultivate appreciation and thanks for those around us. So that would have been the box for this month. I'd love to know what you think about appreciation, and if you have questions or you want to talk more about it, I encourage you to check out my Patreon group. And just know that right now you're welcome to join with the tiers and levels that are there. But in June, for July, things are going to change so that I can provide that box to everyone. All right, thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and next week should be back on our kind of regular schedule, should be my Silk and Sonder video for the next month. All right, thanks again, have a great week, bye.